I've been gaming since 1988. Combines the best of a PS4 and Xbox One controller, the good hand feels. Why do people need to post their failures on here about their inability to pre-order a product? Grow up. Update. If you're playing Cold War, there's a really cool trigger effect. You can shut this off. The right trigger collapses like a real trigger. I'm also finding battery life isn't as bad as they're saying, but I bought myself an extra anyway. The textured back of the controller has nice implemented details for Sony fans. If you look close enough, it is composed of face buttons. The shoulder buttons also protrude more than the DualShock 4. The triggers at stock have a very nice smooth pull with some resistance. It will be nice to see how some games utilize adaptive triggers. The PS button is now the logo from PlayStation 1 instead of a circle, which also works as a nice translation to P5 if you really want to get poetically crazy. The touchpad has a little more resistance because of the way the surface is treated. Instead of a silky smooth matte surface like the DS4, this one seems like it's just a matte surface without the silk. The face buttons all have a super nice soft, but the tactile press. Design-wise, the controller is creatively constructed. I think a lot of thought has been put into the design than people would like to think, and it deserves critique. The white portions of the controller protrude about 1/32, higher than the black striping. At first, I thought I would be able to feel what seems like annoying transitions between the two colors, but surprisingly, the white acts as a literal translation of where your hands will be when you hold the controller. It's very diagrammatic. Kind of like architecture that is designed in a way that when looked at, you can already understand the purpose of what the architect intended with material choices and geometric decisions. Currently using it on my PC, but so far, it exceeds the Xbox One controller I have been at nearly all facets. The only problem is that some companies like Ubisoft and Epic Games seem to think no controller exists besides Xbox, so I sadly have to run Steam as an overlay to even use the dang controller. All in all, this controller is a shout out to the PlayStation 1 with little Easter eggs, and it really is a supremely constructed controller. The PS5 DualSense controller is comfortable. It's a mix between an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller and a PS4 DualShock controller. I got it to work on PC, but sadly can't test out rumble features. Not sure why this arrived already, but it feels really nice. I have large hands, a bit heavier than PS4 controllers. Seems like they built it to last. My one issue is it didn't come with a charging cable. Well, there's honestly not much to say. Steam has native support for Xbox One, DualShock 4, and Switch Pro controllers, so they will most likely, eventually, also develop for the DualSense. I'm not sure when that will be, but I trust Steam with that since they had done an absolutely perfect job for the previous three. Connecting it to the PC was insanely easy. Just hold select and PS buttons for 3 seconds until the lights flash rapidly, intermittently, and select the controller as a Bluetooth device on Windows. It did not work immediately on Steam. I had to go into Big Picture, obviously, and configure it from there. What I did was register it as a generic controller by inputting each key for each action. It was honestly pretty simple since Steam also shows you a picture of a controller and a green light for the current key you need to map. After mapping the keys, I played some Dead Cells, and the experience was pretty flawless. The controller feels great in my hand. It feels like an Xbox One controller, but with the DS4 layout. It has some satisfying heaviness to it. Not that much, but you can definitely feel a good fullness in your hand when you compare it to a DS4. The shoulder, and especially trigger buttons feel better, too, since they are a bit larger now. I do have a problem with the select and start keys. They are really stiff. If you have a DS4 with those keys being stiff, oh yeah, these are even stiffer. Still clickable, but very stiff. Perhaps they will become less stiff over time the more I use the controller, but we'll see. However, some things are not customizable yet, like the DS4 is, such as changing the little light, or its color, and the touchpad. And its clicks. There's also a new button on the DualSense, which is the mute mic button as far as I know, and that's not mappable, either. Again, Steam will most likely develop native support for the DualSense also, but for now, it works just like an Xbox controller, and that's enough for me for now. I have not tested the battery life yet, and I have no charged it yet. It already came with some charge, not sure if 50% or 100%. So far I'd say I'm satisfied, and I'll update my review if anything happens, whether good or bad. This is a very well-crafted controller and as argued by online reviewers is likely going to be one of the distinguishing factors between Series 10s and PS5. The PS5 controller can produce more accurate haptic feedback and supports pull tension for L/R buttons, which can be programmed by developers to enhance the gaming experience, like simulating ABS brakes in racing games or a jammed gun in shooting games. Though it is yet to be seen if all games can leverage these features or it will be mainly supported by the first-party games. The PS5 controller is slightly larger, heavier than the PS4 controller and has a USB-C port, instead of a micro USB. There are tiny patterns of PlayStation symbols all over the back of the controller which gives it a nice look and feel. First impressions. I like it.
Hope you enjoyed the video. You guys can initiate a discussion in the comment box, if you have any different opinions about the contents in this video. Be the first to start the debate in the box below. Purchase links related to the products in this video are kept in description. We will be grateful, if you could please make your next purchase from that link, as this will help us to grow our channel. Good morning, good evening and good night, whichever part of the world you are from. Don't forget to subscribe to stay connected. I will assure you to make quality and interesting videos in future. This is Jason Peter, signing off.